Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little different than my normal style of videos. Recently, I went to Iowa, more specifically Des Moines, for the Iowa State Fair. And while I was there, I took a lot of pictures, obviously, and one of the pictures that I took is this one here. If you're unfamiliar with what this might be, this is actually the Capitol building in Des Moines. I took this picture while we were actually heading to the bus to get to the fair. And I really like the way this looks, and I wanted to make this as a bit of a thank you for one of our two very gracious hosts. I'll be making the other painting probably next week, and we will actually be mailing both of these back to them as a bit of a thank you for letting us stay in their home. And this is the picture that I decided that Mr. Juan would enjoy. So let's go ahead and push this up to the top corner, and we will get started on the painting process. As you will likely know if you've watched any of my videos before, a lot of the time my painting process actually starts with no painting at all. You can see on this paper here that I've already penciled in, and I'm currently doing the pen lining for this painting. I'm going to go ahead and follow fairly closely my guidelines in pencil. I went ahead and used my dot grid that I use in a lot of my other paintings to help me get the proportions to a point where I was happy with them. And once I was at that point, then I'm now moving on to the pen lining. So you can see me here lining up sort of the primary details, and I'm going to let the paint do a lot of the work for me today, hopefully. But when it comes to more architectural drawings like this, it's very important that you have, I'm not going to say perfectly accurate lines, but relatively consistent perspective lines and angles and things like that. And so I'm taking my time here to make sure that whenever I'm doing something at a certain angle or in a certain perspective, that it really captures that perspective for me. And that's just going to help to push the realism of a painting like this. So we've completed the pen lining portion of our painting process, and now I'm going to go ahead and jump into the actual paint itself. I like to paint from back to front, so the first thing I'm going to do here is add a sky. I'm actually going to make my sky a little bit more blue than it is in the reference photo, just because that gray is very boring. And I like my colors to be a little bit more saturated than that. It's not going to be vibrant blue, because I want the dome here that's gold to be the most vibrant part of our painting. But you'll see I'm going to add a bit more blue than is in our reference photo. That's perfectly fine. Especially in a painting like this, a little creative freedom is not going to hurt anybody. As long as the primary structure is there, you will understand the point. And with something like the sky, it's a different color every day. So nobody's going to notice that it's not the exact photo. I'd like my glass to seem reflective, so I'm actually going to paint the sky color in all of the windows as well. So now that we've painted our sky and we've put some sky reflections in the glass, we can go ahead and get onto some of the local colors of the building itself. When I say local color, what I mean is the actual color of whatever object it is that you're painting. So for example, this building, the actual stonework is kind of a neutral, slightly warmer gray. I'm going to paint it that color so that the base color is accurate, and then I can add my shadows and whatnot on top of that. So the local color goes first, and then the shadows will go, and then we will do some highlighting work later. So as I move on now to the gold dome on the primary piece and the little topper, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you a little bit about how I choose to paint this gold here. Now, as you can see right now, it's mostly yellow, which is what gold is typically. But the interesting thing about gold is that in the shadows, you get a lot of orange, which you would expect, but you also get a good bit of green, especially depending on the type of gold that it is. And for this specific reference photo, you can see that it is a bit of a greener gold. I don't know if you can tell by looking at the photo, but when I see that, I can notice there's a bit of green, especially in the shadows. And so once I put in this initial base layer, you see me putting in actually some green into my mixture to help me with some of those shadows and some of those darker sections, just so that they look a little more gold and a little less yellow. And as I mentioned earlier, now that we've got all of our local colors in, we can go ahead and do some of our shadows. I've mixed a few of my colors here to make this shadow color. It's primarily purple, blue, brown, and maybe a little bit of black if I feel like it needs to be darker. And what this is giving me is kind of a fairly neutral, maybe on the slightly cooler side, gray. And that's going to be a good color for me for the shadows in this specific painting. And you'll see that there's actually a good bit of contrast in the original photo. And so I'm going to try to capture some of that here. Okay, now for the fun part. So you see me here painting with a brush that I don't normally use, using a color that doesn't seem to be appearing very much. What I'm actually doing is applying a bit of glue onto my painting. And the reason for that, you will see in a second. So now I'm going to go ahead and put some gold leafing onto this glue. So the Capitol building itself actually has gold leaf on the physical dome in real life. And I thought it would be pretty neat if we went ahead and added some to our painting as well. I have used gold leafing before. It was before I had a YouTube channel, so I did not film the video process of it at the time, but I really enjoyed doing it. So I thought that we would add some here just to give this a bit of an interesting flair. I'm not going to put it everywhere on the dome itself, but I am going to apply it to a few sections just so we can get the effect of the shiny gold on it without overdoing it and ruining all of the work we've done so far. Okay, if you know my process, now we're going to go ahead and do the detailing phase. That phase is where I come back in with my black pen and a white marker, paint marker, to put some final highlights and some final lining details in all the places that I think need it. So I'm going to go ahead and speed through that, and then we can get to signing it and the outro. So my normal spot to sign in the bottom right-hand corner is a little busy, and so is the bottom left-hand corner. So today I found a nice spot right in kind of the middle of our building here to sign, a nice blank area. I think that fits nicely. But now that we've done the signing, I'm going to go ahead and pull my tape and erase any pencil lines that are in our white edge, and then we can go ahead and get out of here. Okay, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell, share with your friends, all the standard YouTube video things. There is a box in the upper left. You can click that. It'll show you a video YouTube thinks you'll like. There's a circle in the bottom left. It'll take you straight to my channel. You can watch any of my other YouTube videos. With that being said, I think that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.